Okay, so there are a few things common between me and Miss Malini, and I said common. For once, she has a verified account, I don't. She is loaded in the bank. With love and a lot of money. I don't have that much money. Welcome to Freaky Fridays with Devansh.
Thank you, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, you want to have beer?
Whatever you want.
Oh, beer lao yaar.
There's beer in the fridge.
You mix it, no? हाँ, beer लिखियो. Beer है?
I'll get it. It's in this one.
So I've got some beer for you.
Nice.
So can we?
Yes.
You know the best thing about beer is how to pour it.
Like that. Oh, strategy. Man of many talents. Why you like to give it so much foam? Really?
Yeah. Huh? You girls don't like the cappuccino like that?
Cappuccino beer.
So ये है cappuccino beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a beer. We're having beer. God, this is a task, no?
It is. It's like out of Big Boss.
Okay, wow. Yeah, tell me something. So you've been watching Big Boss of late?
I watched a little bit. I'm quite mortified.
What's been okay? Let me ask you.
I almost did it. They asked me to do it.
Wouldn't you be there? I mean, you're sitting on this.
No, I couldn't. You know, honestly, like
confession couch.
I just like I wouldn't mind the idea of doing a reality show. I just think that the kind of things they make you do, I just feel like I don't know. I don't think I could handle it. I think I could handle one not being with on my phone, and I think those people would drive me crazy.
Tell me something. What was that moment that triggered you to do something like this? To launch something like MissMalini.com?
You know, it was totally by accident. I used to be a backup dancer for Sukhbir for many years, and then I was with MTV. I was a radio jockey, and I used to really like writing my column in Midday, which was Malini's Mumbai, and I didn't have enough space to write about all the things I used to see, the parties I went to. So a friend of mine just said, why don't you start a blog? And that was like 2008. I'm like, what's a blog? And he's like, this diary on the internet.
You asked him what's a blog?
I asked him this in 2008.
Miss Malini asked the question,
I was like, what's a blog? And then he said, and I said, but who reads it? And he goes, don't worry about that. You just start writing it and see. And I started writing it, and I got really addicted to writing it, and then people would comment. And it was like very instantaneous, just like on radio, people call up and, you know, that interaction. So I love that. And then it just took off. I think it was the right time. Social media had taken off, and I was probably writing about stuff with the voice that most other publications were doing in sort of an older format. So it's just good timing.
So you gave up newspaper and everything.
I mean, I was still doing. I did all of it at the same time. I used to have my column. I did my radio show. I used to write this on the side, because the good thing about blogging is you don't have to give up everything else. You can go home and do it from your sofa. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You just have to have your computer and a login. It's a free WordPress account. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right. So digitally you are.
Yeah.
Digitally sexy is Miss Malini. But okay, your love for films, how did that start? I want to know that.
So when I was growing up, my dad was in the Foreign Service. So every 3 years we would leave and move to different countries. From 0 to 17, I was abroad. But in the Foreign Service, you used to get these cassette tapes, like VHS tapes. Yeah. And you would get like movies which are decided that 2 A-list, 2 B-list and 2 C-list. So I have watched everything. From like Khuda Gawah to Shehenshah to all of those movies, and I used to love it, and I fell in love with Amir Khan. No, I used to get all these movies. I used to watch all of them, every Govinda film. We used to watch every film. So I think even more than you would watch growing up in India, I watched. And I loved films, and I loved the magic and the romance. So I was addicted since I was young.
And then that's what triggered you to be a dancer, I'm sure.
I think so, yeah. Just that whole, I used to love watching and I used to actually watch the dancers in the back, because you know, when you watch them dancing on stage, you always see the main person, but you don't see like the 50 dancers, that one really enthu cutlet dancer in the back who's like giving it their all, and they're like sweating and dying, you know.
You learned the word enthu cutlet here, right?
I know, I'm the biggest enthu cutlet. I call myself that. Okay. And I would always look at those dancers and wonder what their lives are like. And then I used to hear about, you know, people who come to become extras in films and hours they wait. So I was very fascinated by that whole thing.
But hey, Shahid Kapoor in Tal.
Right?
Behind Aishwarya Rai, holding her whatever drape.
And internationally, Jennifer Lopez was a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. So it works internationally.
So they both have become actors.
Yeah, exactly.
When do we see Miss Malini act on the big screen?
When I get that amazing script. I did a cameo in a YRF digital film called Man's World, so that was a lot of fun. But I have to say, acting is not easy. I see what these guys go through.
It's not easy, but if you make Miss Malini play Miss Malini, job's done. So how did this whole team, like, How did you convince your husband to become the CEO of this company?
So he was actually working in finance, and the funny thing is he always makes fun of me because most everyone that I've hired, I hired like that on a whim because somebody sent a tweet or they wrote me an email that I thought was great, and I just hired them, and all of them have stayed, and all of them are amazing. And he would always he always wanted to do a startup. He wanted to work in this sort of culture, but he knew that we obviously have to support ourselves. So he said, okay, you quit all your jobs, you do the blog, and let's give it a year, and I'll support us. And then he did. And he's a real smarty. He went to Yale and Harvard, okay? So he's like sorted.
Can we cut this show because
I don't have to do very much in terms of the
guys from
business
Yale,
thinking.
Harvard.
Super smart, and now he's the CEO. And it's actually worked out really well. Everyone asks us, how is it working together? Because, you know, couples, how they work together, is it tough? Actually, it's really good. He does the business with the, you know, Sujal and Mike in management, and I do the creative, and I get to go and have the fun and travel and do the parties. And
how much do you travel? I've heard on the show. Sorry, burping is allowed?
It's reality.
What do you call them? Beer burps? You do get the beer burps, no? God.
Girls don't.
No? Girls don't get it. Okay. Yeah, okay. So you're talking about the
So travel, no, so I get to travel a lot, and it's over recently that I've got to travel so much, and I love it. Like, I never thought that after I finished, you know, high school, my dad retired, that I'd get to travel so much on my own. And I love it now. I fly business class, and I feel like such a baller. It's kind of awesome.
Sponsored, business class.
Hey, living the dream, man. Living the dream.
But doesn't this fame get over your head sometimes?
See, I don't like...
Do you try to be like, okay, hang on, no, come down.
I honestly don't like, I don't think of myself as famous. Like, my thing is that
No, you are. Is she famous? Yes.
like, I document other people. Like, I document celebrities. And I feel really happy when someone says, oh, you're that Miss Malini, because that means they read. And I think for me, it's just, I love meeting people and having that experience. And I don't think I ever want to think of it like, oh, I'm famous now and let me just be a huge snob, because then I wouldn't be able to do what I do anymore.
That's awesome, yeah. But the only thing that remains now to be seen in your beautiful office is a few trophies.
Trophies,
No?
Yeah, we need trophies.
This is the first trophy you've received, do you remember?
I think I got one for being like a social media maven or something
So
like
where are
that.
these? I mean,
They're somewhere
where's the
in the corner.
mantelpiece?
There's in the corner somewhere.
in the
They're
corner
all,
somewhere.
because you know all these trophies, like, they mean so well, but they're always some really ridiculous glass sculpture, you know, and it's just like, and it's like a weapon, you know, like, and it's so heavy. The whole suitcase is like extra kgs now, and they're always. I was going to ask the people, like, when you ordered this trophy, what were you thinking? Like, it's not like the Filmfare trophies. It's always some ridiculous. Like, I really appreciate getting it.
Right. But एक सवाल जो मुझे पूछना है और हिंदी में जवाब मिलेगा.
मिलेगा.
She speaks good Hindi. So
I'll tell you a very funny Hindi
audition
story.
test यही मौका है दे.
मेरा रेडियो शो मैंने अपना रेडियो शो 2 साल हिंदी में किया था, मगर मेरी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी नहीं थी, तो मैं एक कहानी बता रही थी ऐश्वर्या राय के बारे में कि गुरु फिल्म में वो साइकिल चला रही थी, एंड आई वाज सेइंग कि और वो दीवार में जाके रैम हो गई. रैम हो गई. And my producer came in and he's like, and then I tried to say कि these two people were seeing each other, so I was like, ये एक दूसरे को देख रहे थे. And he's like, no, that's lost in translation. So it's a little difficult sometimes.
Sofia Coppola, did you get that? Okay, no, very bad one. Okay, that's interesting. I want to ask you, ये Miss Malini क्यों? तेरी शादी हो गई है, Mrs. Malini होना चाहिए.
You are the first person to ask me this question. Congratulations, शाबाश. अगर मेरे पास हर इस सवाल के लिए 100 रुपए होते ना, मेरे पास एक जेट होता पिंक कलर का.
मुझे मिलता?
हाँ, नहीं मुझे मिलता. Because Miss Malini, see, मेरा नाम.
You were not married?
I was not married. और क्या है ना कि Malini is my name. Okay, so I wanted to call it, and Miss Malini alliteration works. But Miss Malini is not just about me. Miss Malini is about every successful girl who has kicked ass and doing something amazing around the world.
That is so good.
That's what Miss Malini represents. So it's not just me. It's
Sorry, I burped.
These amazing women who run the world, who are desi at heart, who love to dance at their best friend's wedding, nachenge to kajrare, but they're doing amazing things in this generation, and that's what Miss Malini represents.
That's woman empowerment. That's what
right.
she meant.
Girl power.
That's awesome. But you know, you proved, and it's so important, especially. You are an inspiration to these women who really want to do something, and especially from India. And I'm not really, you know, blaming that Indian women.
Yeah.
I'm not dissecting them from the women like you who've come from abroad and are settled in India and doing big things. I'm trying to prove that women have power, women want to do something, and they need to the only thing that they need is a bit of freedom.
They need freedom and confidence. And honestly, like, see, people think, okay, I studied abroad and everything, but I didn't have any money to do anything. I moved to Bombay with 2 suitcases and nothing in my bank account. And I lived in a house with 6 girls and 1 pigeon. And every night this pigeon would fly around the ceiling fan and I thought it's going to kill itself. So I tell people my story started like any good Bollywood film with a pigeon. And so I didn't have, I promise you that Bombay has proved to me that it is the city of dreams. You can have nothing and work your way up. And I tell all the young girls I meet, we live in a generation where you can do anything. Your parents let you, you know, if you have the grit, even girls who have, you know, difficult families and stuff, they get stuff done. They find a way to get their careers and make their lives. So I think it's an amazing time that we live in. And I'm very happy to inspire girls to do that. And I'm very impressed and very humbled to be considered among people who are inspiring them.
But you know, when you have your own brand called MissMalini.com, doesn't now the doorbell rings and you know, knock on the door that, oh, you know what, I would like to work with you, blah blah blah. How does that kind of?
I think it's great. So every time anyone who wants to come, I'm like, come, give it a shot. Every time someone wants a job, I ask them to send me whatever. I ask them what they want to do, and this is a very important question. I ask them, think about this one question: what would you do for the rest of your life if nobody paid you to do it?
That's so good.
And if you, whatever that answer is, that's what you should do for a living. And I promise you, you'll make money doing it.
Awesome, that's a lesson learned. ये beer तो भी ऐसे show off के लिए नहीं है.
हाँ, अभी मैं style मार रही हूँ.
Style मार रही. Okay.
I can't get drunk on your show,
okay,
man.
now, of course, yes, you can. So me and Kangna had wine together, which was really awesome. Yeah, during Queen. Okay, now let's talk about, let's bitch about our Bollywood industry, shall we?
All right, let's.
Okay, so who's? Let me ask you, who's the most fashionable from the men? Of course.
From the men. You know, actually, I think, so Ranbir Singh, I'm sorry, Ranbir Kapoor.
Beer, ye beer
this
ka.
Is the beer, sorry. I've
beer.
actually combined them because I was thinking of both. So Ranbir Singh obviously is very cool and trendy. Arjun Kapoor will kill me if I don't mention him. Arjun, you're very stylish. You have very cool taste. But the guy I think who doesn't get enough props is Ranbir Kapoor. And he told me this once, he said he's the Sonam Kapoor of the guys. And everyone thought it was really funny, but he actually is very stylish. It's understated. He wears these sneakers, he has cool t-shirts, and so I think he has really cool style. All the rest, Rahul Khanna, all of them are very stylish, but in casual style, I think Ranbir.
Okay, and from the females?
So obviously, you know, red carpet style, you know, Sonam Kapoor, Frida Pinto, Aishwarya Rai, all of them. But I think Kangana has amazing, badass style. She always looks a bit edgy. She's launched her own line now, the Marquee collection with Vera Moda. So I think she's kind of quirky and fun. I think Alia also has really cool style. I think, you know, she was wearing this superhero white jacket and shirt with a boom written on the thing, which Ami Patel, I think, styled, which I thought was really fun.
Do you remember your first blog of Miss
I
Malini?
do. I think
what was the headline?
It was, remember Saif Ali Khan was married to this Italian woman, Rosa.
Rosa, yeah.
And she was at Olive and she was eating a piece of cheese. She was posing for the camera. So I said, so cheesy was the headline.
And you were there?
I was there. I was covering it. And I thought it was so funny how she was holding a cheese cube and posing for the cameras. And
so cheesy.
So cheesy. So I was very proud of that. I think that was the first one.
And which was your most read blog?
So I actually broke the story
Sorry,
about...
you burped again.
I broke the story about Ranbir and Katrina dating. I don't know if you know this. Many years ago.
Ranbir and Katrina dating? Oh, yeah.
So I'll tell you how I got the story, which is amazing. So I have a friend who was flying back on Lufthansa in first class. Now he's half Indian and half Angrez, but he looks fully Angrez.
Right.
So when people see him sitting across in the first class cabin, they don't think he will know who they are. And he happened to be sitting in the same row as Ranbir and Katrina.
Wow.
And they were sitting there gossiping, giggling, being cute and like kissy face and all of that.
Yeah.
And he landed and I'm having dinner with him and he was like, oh, you know, I saw this Bollywood actress in the plane and she was like making out with some guy. And I'm like, what? Who? And then he's like, you know, I think I recognized her, but I couldn't recognize him. So he said, I Googled like on the Wi-Fi and looked and thought, you know, and saw, no, that was like this guy. And I'm like, are you telling me Katrina Kaif and Ranbir Kapoor are seeing each other? Are you sure? And he's like, yeah, it was definitely them. So I wrote this story and then the midday carried and everyone picked it up. And it was so funny because they had no idea that this guy would know and he told me the seat number and everything. So that was a big story that we broke.
That's awesome. Okay, which is the one, what's the flack you got for a story you blogged?
So I remember many years ago, I got these pictures of Rajnikant without his hair and makeup on and I posted them. And I got flamed like you would not believe, because he's
From his
a
fans.
god.
From his
Like,
fans,
and
yeah.
everyone was like, how could you do this? And I couldn't understand it. And that's when I realized that in India, people don't want to see their celebrities stripped of
But
everything.
hang on, now everyone knows about this.
But I'm saying, I think I've realized that there's a lot of tabloidy press that's sort of negative and bitching.
Right.
And one, it used to make me feel really bad if I wrote something gossipy and that person felt bad. I used to feel bad. And two, I was like, people don't want to see this. They think of Rajinikanth and this idol, and it's magic, and people look at movies as the escape from reality. So then why am I ruining it for them? Let them see him like robot, like a total ninja doing his thing. So that's the only blog, like I took it down and I said, I'm sorry. And
Have you met Rajinikanth?
I have not. I would love to meet him and tell him the
Awesome
story.
guy.
Yeah.
In fact, this morning the newspapers broke the story that Arnold is
Schwarzenegger
is working with Rajinikanth.
That's amazing.
In Robot 2.
That's
Was
incredible.
it Robot? No, Enteran 2.
That's amazing.
Enteran 2. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't remember. But now.
He's amazing. Like
Beer's
Rajinikanth,
working.
what he's accomplished, it's something else.
So you love your beer, no?
I actually drink more vodka, but I don't mind beer. I play a lot of beer pong in the office.
Yeah, I know that. The next time we meet, we should.
We should, definitely.
No? Okay, so the interesting question would be, would you write a book?
I'm actually working on one right now.
How interesting. I can steal the thought
You
from
can
this
read
lady.
my mind.
You can read her
I'm
mind.
actually working on 2 books. One is about love and
That's
one
your
is
first
about...
book?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll ask you a question. Tell me if you know the answer.
Yes.
Ready? Ready? Think about this. See, people fall in love and you see these romances
Right.
and they ride off into the sunset. Who knows how to make love stay?
That's the question you're asking me?
Yeah.
Who knows how?
To make love stay. I asked Sanjay Leela Bansali the same question, then I'll tell you what he said after you answer it.
What kind of a question is that?
Who knows how to make love stay? You fall in love, everything is amazing, and then love goes away.
That's a difficult
Or it
question.
fades.
Yeah, of course, yes. But it's an interesting question, though.
How do you make it stay?
How do you make it stay? Love is magic.
And that's the thing, you have to keep making the magic because we use up all the magic.
Yeah, and you keep
And
keep
you-
on
yeah.
weaving it again and again.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, when you fall in
Is that
love,
right?
you feel...
It's more like a mice running
In the
around
way.
in the butter and then making it cream and
The other
climbing
thing is,
up.
you have to keep making that magic, otherwise it fades. And you're like, oh man, why did it fade? It's because you stop trying. Like, we work every day to get our job done, you know? You work every day to look a certain way. But you don't, once you fall in love, you're like, it'll be here. So I asked Sanjay Leela Bansali this question, and he said, nobody knows.
तो मैंने answer गलत
He
दिया.
said, love changes.
Love changes.
So the only way you can make love stay is if you have a Sanjay Leela Bansali ending where everybody dies, and your love has stayed, you're immortal.
Devadas.
Devadas.
Devadas. Tell me more about your love story with
Naushad.
With Naushad.
Actually, it's amazing.
Where did you
So-
meet him first? Yale or Harvard?
No, in Bombay. Before Harvard, I met him. I married him. I was in love with him before that. I met him. I used to run a social network called Friday Club because I felt like when I used to move different cities, I would have to make new friends all the time. So I used to do something where every Friday I would make a plan, and you could bring friends would bring for other friends, and you got to know more and more people. It was never a singles club. It was just whoever wants to come and hang out. And one day he showed up, and that's how I met him, and we kept in touch. And now my mother sends all my cousins from Bhopal ki aapki bhi shaadi ho jayegi. I'm like, Mom, it's just not that kind of thing. Even though my brother also met his wife, so you know, I've set the wrong.
Are you looking at expanding MissMalini.com?
Absolutely.
Or,
So my
offices
dream is to do the Young Oprah Network. You know,
Oh, this is so good.
that's the dream.
Have
Because
you ever told anyone this?
no,
First time, it's exclusive on Freaky Fridays.
I think the thing is that, see, out of India we have Chota Bheem, we have all these little characters, and we have Bollywood stars. We don't have anyone who represents me and you. You know, I've lived in Bombay for 20 years, and everyone talks about, when they look from abroad, they say slumdog millionaire, villages. But I'm like, look at the life we live. There's cool parties, there's people, there's fashion, there's glamour. And we're a smaller number of people. I'm not saying the villages and poverty doesn't exist, but what about this stuff? And nobody represents us. We don't have a Barbie or a Hannah Montana.
Karan Johar represents
Karan Johar represent. But I'm saying for this, you know, the youth, that environment. So I wanted to create this Miss Malini anime that represents my brand. That is this girl who'll dance at her best friend's wedding, but loves travel and culture and movies and all these things. So that's the dream.
That's awesome. But you should, I think this is a great idea. You should have your show. But
Yeah.
more, I think less to do, I mean, of course, it will have the fashion films and
Yeah, it's not so
but-
much like, see, Oprah is much more about like, you know, saving the
Issues
world and
and-
issues
yeah,
like that. I can
that's
do that a little bit, and I try to. So I'm planning a new project and you have to help me, okay? It's called Karma.
I'm doing it.
So you know what happens is, and this is kind of sad, but you know how someone dies or they kill themselves, and then you see on Facebook, everybody in the world writes a message for them, like I miss you or I loved you or what happened. why can't we do that when people are alive? So my plan is guerrilla love. Your group of friends, once a week, or we can do it on Fridays, you have to pick one person and you have to flood their Facebook with why you love them.
That's awesome.
Pictures, why you love them, funny stories, while they're still alive. Why are we so embarrassed and shy to do that and tell someone why we like them while they're alive? So we'll do it.
It's very thoughtful.
It'll be fun. And then that person will be really embarrassed, but they'll feel good. And maybe they won't kill themselves.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty sad.
No, I'm so serious.
That's pretty sad.
Because all those people, like, I've seen this happen, that's why.
So you're the only woman married in your office? Or is it like all the
Am I the only woman?
Oh no,
married?
yeah,
Sujal, yeah.
Sujal's married.
Yes, but he's not a woman.
No, but I'm saying...
No, so Mike is married also.
I meant like
married people. Yeah, actually, most of the people are really young. And so I have so many girls in the office, and they're always waiting for me to get...
that question. Why is it so...
Because a lot of girls, I mean, it's not biased. It just so happens that girls write more.
Is it?
And better than boys. I'm sorry. I haven't found that many guys.
Read my writings.
So come join. You're hired. And then they joke with me. They're like, oh, all the guys are married, and Marvin is gay, and there's no single boys for us to flirt with.
Come on, that's bullshit.
So they're like, we need single guys in the office. So I was like, well, I'm trying, but you're going to eat them alive. So I'm afraid. Now we have a few single boys.
Interesting.
Who are very scared.
I love your office though.
Thank you.
Whose idea is this?
It was a group effort. So this used to be a recording studio. There were walls everywhere, and I like the whole New York, LA culture of offices.
Why am I being uncomfortable?
Yeah, why are you uncomfortable?
Is it because मेरे को चढ़ रही है क्या? ये चढ़ रही है मेरे को भाई. ये strong है. Who got me strong beer?
Hayward's 10,000.
Hayward's.
Remember those ads?
My God, that was
With
the 80s,
darts.
the 90s, the darts. Yeah.
So this was a whole studio, and then I just wanted an open plan office where people could just come, and I broke every wall. I asked the guy, tell me which ball I cannot break, and he said, don't break this beam, the whole building will come
Just
down.
call Hulk.
So so we opened everything out, and I wanted to paint the walls, and Krishna Mehta did our wallpaper.
Nice.
And Highlight Living did the sofa, and just like fun things. And Ashish Shah, who's a really cool architect, he's done like Ritik's house and Katrina's house. He got in touch and he said, I want to help you plan it. So it all worked out really well.
Okay, you're going to get a great surprise come Diwali from me.
Yay.
Because I love such places. In fact, my pad's very much like this.
Yeah.
Where I stay.
And we all sit here, it's like a community table. So we all sit together and it's madness. There's no cabins.
So what are your plans? What are your weekend plans? Do you work on weekends?
I usually do some work, but usually Friday or Saturday we go out. So I'm throwing a birthday party for Nashad tomorrow because it was his birthday on the 12th. Wow. You should come actually. We're going to Radio Bar in Bandra.
Awesome.
And we're going to hang out. And then I'm leaving for New York on Sunday night. Otherwise, usually on the weekend we'll go do brunch or do something. I'm trying to start playing squash or badminton, but by the time you have a hangover, you recover, you don't end up doing anything.
So who are your friends from the film fraternity? Someone you could just call and say, hey, you know what, I want a piece of advice.
Actually, I've called a bunch of them. It's an interesting question. I don't know if I would call them and, ask them a specific piece of advice like that, right. But I feel like the people who would give me really good advice are people like Manish Malhotra, Karan Johar, Priyanka Chopra, even Ranbir Singh, because I asked him, should I do Big Boss? And he said, don't do it. so that was good advice. Yeah.
That's good advice. But I'm really happy for PC. Yeah.
She's doing amazing.
She's doing amazing.
And look at the crossover that she's done. And Quantico. I love Quantico. She's doing a great job in it. Yeah.
It's awesome.
More power to you.
Would you do television as well? Because now the television is expanding in India. 24 by Anil Kapoor, and now he's adapting Modern Family.
That's awesome. I would totally do television. It just depends. I mean, I honestly don't know if I can act, but I would totally try it.
Okay. Now tell me, which newcomer you think really is an underdog who hasn't got its due?
Which newcomer has not got his due? So there's this guy called Akshay Oberoi, who was in a movie called Pizza 3D.
Yeah, the horror film.
I think he has a huge amount of talent and he's really passionate, and I don't think he's got his due, and he's amazing looking. So him for sure.
And from the actresses?
The girls? Who hasn't got their due? I guess it's tough to say. I don't really know. I think also there aren't that many, right? There's maybe Shraddha and Alia, and I really don't see too many of the others. And unfortunately, a lot of them are kind of clones of each other. So I can't think of like a favorite new one that I think is great. But there's a girl, I don't know if she's got her due or not yet, but she's new, Shweta Tiwari. She was in Masan. Yeah. She's amazing.
She's amazing.
And she's so fun and quirky and talented. And she came here and did this really fun thing, which is...
Hang on. Yeah, I know that. I know. You were there during the Masan
Yeah,
lunchbox.
Lightbox.
Lightbox.
Lightbox, yeah.
Oh God, we didn't meet there.
Yeah, we didn't meet. And I thought she was so lovely, and she has such an amazing
Yeah,
personality.
yeah.
So I hope she becomes a huge star. She's amazing.
Interesting, interesting. But this is awesome. I want to ask you, are you into painting as well?
I can't paint.
You can't
That's my. It's one regret. I can't paint. I can't sing. I can't play an instrument.
Damn, because I
can
was
play the
thinking
laptop.
a place like this would have a lovely piano or a guitar. Or
I have a blue guitar, and it's even strung left-handed because I'm left-handed, but I cannot play it
Yeah,
at
me
all.
too, left-handed.
Are you?
Yes.
That's why
High
we're
five.
amazing.
High five.
Lefties are the best.
But why lefties are the best?
Because I've written a whole article on this, I'll send it to you. We use the right side of our brain. We're more creative and quirky. I think there's a fewer of us, which already makes us kind of unique. Like there's no reason.
The lefty. आप खाना बनाती हो husband के लिए?
नहीं मुझे कुछ खाना बनाना आता
बेचारा भूखा नहीं?
He loves to cook and he cooks amazingly, so
Yeah?
it works really
You're
well.
like,
yeah.
yeah.
He's great. So he'll come home at night and he'll make this amazing chilo kebab and rice and stuff, and he'll give me a plate and I'm like, this is amazing.
So do you miss going back now
Where?
that you're settled here?
But I get to travel so much, so I love Bombay. Like I never thought I'd be here for like 16 years, but I don't feel like leaving.
No?
Let's see. I don't think so. I think a couple more years for sure.
तेरा beer खत्म करे यार.
अरे यार.
ये गलत है ये. Miss Malini is trying to put an act. Okay. I think that's about it. We're done.